A car does not need a huge engine to humiliate something twice its size. Some of the greatest classics ever built were small enough to squeeze through old city streets, cheap enough for ordinary families, and clever enough to rewrite the rules. In this countdown, we are looking at 10 tiny legends that proved brilliance comes in different forms. Some changed urban transport, some turned back roads into playgrounds, some won rallies against cars that looked far more serious, and by the end, the smallest machine here might have the biggest legacy of them all. Number 10. BMW Isetta, the bubble car that saved a brand. In post-war Europe, many buyers were not chasing speed or status. They needed cheap transport that used little fuel, fit crowded streets, and cost less than a normal family car. The Isetta answered that problem with almost comic simplicity. It was barely longer than a sofa, used a tiny single-cylinder engine, and had one of the strangest entrances in motoring history. The entire front of the car swung open like a refrigerator door, steering wheel and all. It could park almost anywhere, sip fuel, and carry 2 people through the city without pretending to be more than it was. For BMW, that mattered. In the 1950s, the company was struggling, and the Isetta gave it desperately needed sales before the sports sedans that later defined the brand arrived. The Isetta was brilliant because it made minimalism useful. The next car made minimalism charming worldwide. Number 9. Fiat 500, Italy's tiny masterpiece of mobility. Launched in 1957, the Fiat 500 helped put Italy on wheels at exactly the right moment. Families were leaving scooters behind, cities were getting busier, and many streets were still narrow enough to punish anything bulky. Fiat answered with a car just under 10 feet long, powered by a rear-mounted, air-cooled 2-cylinder engine. That layout made the 500 cheap to build, simple to maintain, and surprisingly useful for its size. It could squeeze through old city centers, park in spaces larger cars ignored, and carry everyday life with almost no wasted metal. Its brilliance was not only mechanical. The round headlights, upright cabin, tiny wheels, and smiling proportions made it feel friendly rather than poor. It became affordable transport with personality. Decades later, collectors still chase them, cities still suit them, and modern small Fiats still borrow its image. The next car was even more basic, yet somehow even more unstoppable. Number 8. Citroën 2CV, the genius of simplicity. Citroën designed the 2CV for a very specific job: carry 4 people, a basket of eggs, and basic goods across rough French farm roads without breaking them or the car. Development began before the Second World War, and the result reached showrooms in 1948. Everything served that mission. The body was light and thin, the air-cooled 2-cylinder engine was easy to work on, and the long-travel suspension let the 2CV float over ruts that would punish more conventional cars. It was slow, famously so, but speed was never the point. Its canvas roof, removable seats, and simple controls made it useful in ways many polished small cars were not. Farmers, students, families, and tradespeople all found the same thing. It was cheap, forgiving, and hard to stop. That honesty turned the 2CV into a French institution for more than 4 decades. After a car built for farms, number 7 makes everyday practicality feel almost indestructible. Number 7. Volkswagen Beetle. Small, simple, and unkillable. The Beetle put its engine in the back, cooled it with air, and wrapped the whole package in one of the most recognizable shapes ever put on wheels. That rounded body was friendly, but underneath it was a car designed to be tough, cheap to run, and easy to keep alive. Its air-cooled flat 4 avoided radiators, hoses, and coolant problems, which mattered in hot countries, cold countries, and places where workshops were basic. The rear engine layout also gave the little Volkswagen useful traction, helping it cope with rough roads far beyond city streets. That formula made the Beetle affordable transport across continents. It became a family car, a first car, a taxi, a police car, and sometimes the only dependable machine people could buy. Then came the culture around it: beach buggies, drag cars, lowered customs, restored originals, and clubs everywhere. With more than 21 million built, the Beetle was not just popular, it became a global phenomenon. Next, number 6 takes small car practicality in a boxier direction, and quietly becomes a design benchmark. Number 6. Renault 4, the practical hatchback before hatchbacks took over. Launched in 1961, the Renault 4 looked plain, but its layout was quietly ahead of the market. It had 4 passenger doors, a large rear tailgate, and a flat, usable load area, so one small car could carry children during the week, tools on Saturday, and produce from a farm when needed. Its front-wheel drive kept the cabin open and useful, while the long travel suspension gave it a soft ride over broken roads, dirt tracks, and city streets. It was not trying to feel expensive, it was trying to be easy to live with. That made the Renault 4 valuable to families, farmers, shopkeepers, postal workers, and tradespeople who needed one cheap car to do several jobs. In that sense, it predicted the modern small hatchback, compact outside, flexible inside, and built around everyday usefulness. Practicality is one kind of brilliance, but number 5 proves a small classic can also be sharp, light, and genuinely sporty. Number 5, Austin Healey Sprite, the Froguy that made sports cars accessible. Launched in 1958, the Sprite became famous before it even moved, thanks to those raised headlamps that gave it the Froguy, or Booguy face. Underneath the charm was a very simple machine, a small 4-cylinder engine, basic running gear, and a lightweight body built to keep costs down. On paper, its power was modest, but the Sprite did not need much. It was short, light, and direct, with steering that made ordinary roads feel involving at sensible speeds. Instead of chasing big numbers, it delivered the basic sports car ingredients: open roof, rear-wheel drive, low weight, and a playful chassis. That also made it a favourite in club racing, where owners could tune, repair, and compete without needing exotic parts or a wealthy budget. For many drivers, the Sprite was their first real roadster, and proof that sports car fun did not have to be expensive. The Sprite made fun affordable, but number 4 refined the small car formula into something beautifully balanced. Number 4, Lotus Elan, lightweight brilliance in its purest form. Instead of using size or brute power, Lotus cut mass everywhere it could, so every input felt sharper: steering, braking, acceleration, and cornering. Its engineering was clever as well as light. A steel backbone chassis gave the car strength without much weight, while a fiberglass body kept it compact and low. Independent suspension at all 4 corners gave the Elan a level of grip and composure that many bigger sports cars could not match. The twin-cam engine was lively rather than huge, but in such a light car it made the Elan feel quick, eager, and precise. Drivers loved how it changed direction, how clearly it communicated through the wheel, and how balanced it felt on a twisting road. That reputation lasted for decades, and it helped shape later roadsters, especially the Mazda MX-5. The Elan mastered the road, but number 3 took small car brilliance onto the rally stage. Number 3, Alpine A110, the lightweight rally giant killer. Built in France and launched in the early 1960s, the A110 used a rear-mounted Renault engine, a tubular backbone chassis, and a fiberglass body to keep weight extremely low. That made it feel alert and almost delicate, but on loose, narrow roads, that lightness became a weapon. The rear engine layout helped put weight over the driven wheels, giving the Alpine strong traction out of tight corners. Its compact size let drivers place it precisely between rocks, snowbanks, and cliff edges, while the low mass meant it could brake later, change direction faster, and recover quickly when the surface changed. That formula made the A110 a rally force in the early 1970s. In 1973, Alpine helped win the first World Rally Championship for manufacturers, proving that agility and grip could beat bigger, stronger machines when the road was twisting and unpredictable. And rally giant killing gets even more famous with number 2, a small car that became a national hero. Number 2, Mini Cooper, the giant killer that rewrote the rulebook. The original Mini was brilliant before it ever won a trophy. Launched in 1959, it turned its engine sideways, drove the front wheels, and pushed the wheels out to the corners. That layout freed up a shocking amount of cabin space, making a tiny car feel genuinely useful in crowded British cities. Then John Cooper saw something more. By adding sharper tuning, stronger brakes, and more performance, The Mini Cooper turned a clever economy car into a precise little weapon. It was short, light, easy to place, and incredibly hard for bigger cars to shake on narrow roads. Its legend exploded on the Monte Carlo Rally. In the 1960s, Minis danced through snow, hairpins, and mountain passes, while heavier, more powerful machines struggled to match their pace. The sight of this small box humiliating grand touring cars made it a cultural icon. The Mini is the obvious small car legend, but number 1 proves brilliance can be even more emotional. Number 1, Mazda MX-5 Miata, the small classic that revived the Roadster. By the late 1980s, the simple British sports car had almost disappeared. The old formula was still loved: front engine, rear-wheel drive, open roof, lightweight, and a manual gearbox. But too many originals had become fragile, leaky, or difficult to live with. Mazda took that idea and made it dependable. The first MX-5 arrived in 1989 with modest power, sharp steering, a slick 5-speed manual, and a chassis that cared more about balance than speed. It was not built to dominate drag strips. It was built to make normal roads feel alive. That is why it became the most complete small classic on this list. It was affordable, reliable, easy to maintain, and joyful at legal speeds. The MX-5 proved the point better than anything else here. A brilliant small car does not need excess. It needs connection, consistency, and the ability to make every mile feel bigger. From city icons to lightweight sports cars, these 10 proved that size never limited impact. Clever packaging, low running costs, racing spirit, and honest driver feel made them classics people still use, restore, and love. Thanks for watching. Which small classic would you add or move higher? Write it in the comments, like the video, and subscribe for more classic car countdowns.